It is the one. This day we will speak about the process of ascension, for there are many conflicting details and much skepticism about it. It makes sense that this is the case, for you are evolving while physical, and this process takes place in many different components of you. You remember parts of the process in some dreams. You've witnessed other parts in other lifetimes. All of you, each of you, come now to this day and time with a wide variety of facts and expectations. In this way, you could say that all of the stories are true, or hold truth. Is there a general path that the process takes that covers every explanation? Yes, and this is what will be offered to you today. An overview of the process would use the word expansion rather than ascension. For to ascend implies direction, and to expand implies, instead, to cover or reach a greater area. So let us use the word expansion. Your expansion assumes initially that you have a beginning point that is altered and becomes something else. The reason for the vast numbers of ascension stories is that there are vast numbers of beginning points. You could say that some stories come from earlier on the spectrum of expansion than others. A being follows a very definite trajectory on its journey, its circular journey. Initially, comes the awareness that it is a being at all. This arises from sensation, things felt. You could liken this stage to a newborn who has no awareness of itself except for sensation. He is too cold. She is hungry. He is tired. She feels love. Once feelings are recognized, the being identifies its nearest counterpart as the dispenser of those feelings, at cause for them. This, in humans, would be the primary caretaker, typically a mother or father. This is an increase in awareness without separation. To the infant, parent and self are one. After a period of time, the being holds its first thought or idea of separation. No becomes a frequent and powerful word. At this stage, the being has realized his internal power. She also experiences new feelings, frustration and disappointment being the most often returned to. At this stage, although separation is acknowledged, responsibility is still given to an all-powerful other for how things turn out. For an infant, this would be a parent or caregiver or even a bicycle that didn't hold them up. For an older child or an adult, this could be anyone other than self, a government or a god or some controlling institution. This is the longest stage of the expansion journey. There are many permutations of it. It is easy to discover this phase. It exists when there is blame. It exists when there is someone beyond self who is held accountable for what is happening to the being. This stage can be identified in a society as well as an individual. It is where the Earth's people have been for eons. It is the one you are moving out of. The next stage is one in which the former ideas of the most recent previous stage are questioned. At this stage, there can be a good deal of anger. As in, wait, what? You mean I had a choice? Why wasn't I told of this? What else are you hiding? This is the stage that the Earth's people are moving into. It has been called the awakening for good reason. It is necessary to wake up to the reality of something before you can see it clearly. At this stage, clarity is sought. The stage that follows can be the most exciting. This is the discovery stage. It comes after clarity and is explorative in nature. The old answers aren't working, and so at this stage, new answers are explored. On Earth and currently, many of these explorations are into subjects you've believed the expert authorities on, and now question. It is both exciting and uncertain, as a part of you is ready to believe everything you've been told is a lie, and there is another part of you that doesn't know who you can trust. So, you explore. Much of the exploration eventually heads internally. Once that happens, the next stage has been initiated. This stage is the nascent beginning of self-authority. Although you may not be clear why, you suspect that you have a greater part in the activities and outcomes of your life. You begin to inject self-awareness and autonomy into your day-to-day. Things have to feel correct, and people do too, before you will seriously engage with them. This can be another lengthy stage, as you may still hold a bit of blame for the actions and attitudes of others for your happiness. Yet, you have accepted that it was you who agreed to let them into your world. And that is the distinction between here and the previous step. This next step begins to see every other action as either a mirror or a doorway you've opened yourself. When this stage is dominant, huge relief is experienced, as forgiveness becomes the watchword. There, but for the grace of God, Goai is the sort of sentiment here. Forgiveness has to appear before any subsequent stages can manifest. This stage can be morally painful. There are things that no one wants to admit to having thought or done. These are so very devastating that it is far easier to negate their effect with judgment and accusation. This is done with separation. A clear line is drawn between angel and devil, us and them, good and bad. This stage takes a while. Many times, you don't like what is looking at you in the mirror. This stage is accomplished via relationship. It can only be successfully passed with a very personal application. You have come to call this karma. Once you've breached that line of blame with forgiveness, you are at the next stage. This stage heralds the beginning of universal love, and it starts with love of self. You will know this stage once you've stood naked in front of the mirror before you and decided to love all that you see, all that you are. Not only decided, but felt. You've reached this stage when you feel love for all that you see. Again, let it be said here that love does not mean allow/accept destructive activity. It means that in living out the love that you feel for every other, you act with loving self-authority to support, not deny or destroy. Once love is all that you feel, the next stage arrives. As a realization of what we'll call magic. Magic is the description used for things that have no currently comprehended explanation. When magic occurs, cause and effect is not visible to you. In your case, you witness and perform magic. When you've accepted full authority for your life, you expect things and people to show up a certain way, and they do. It is a subtle change that naturally follows absolute pure love. There are depictions of magicians and wizards in books and movies that explain wild and wondrous creations. Magic on a daily life level instead yields multiple positive outcomes in interactions, projects, and all that life entails. In the case of today, the earth is home to many at this level. They walk among you and hold a certainty in their step. They may be shoe sellers or train conductors or dentists. They hold an aura that you will come to recognize as more of you reach this stage. Their aura is love-filled. Their eyes will sparkle a bit. There is hope there and belief. The final love stage of expansion that we'll discuss here is one in which there has been a direct attempt to manipulate matter. This stage is for those who you may call expansion enthusiasts. These are old souls who come to Earth during her transition to help it along, and then to reap the rewards and play with physical creation. Some of you may feel recognition when you see or hear these words. If you do, know that you are in this group. This is not the end of the expansion journey. Yet it is where we will end our discussion today. Perhaps at another time, when more of you are ready, we will continue with descriptions of further stages. Remember that this is not a race. and that each of you entered the Earth plane with a specific stage in mind for both starting and ending. It's all for the experience. There are no winners, or rather, everybody is a winner and ends up precisely where they intended. That is all. Thank you. This came through as support for their journey. This could include offering consequences for behavior. Support can be a confusing word, as if you are cheering them on. This refers very specifically to support for their expansion journey, as well as your own. *** channel. Sophia Love.